Stormtroopers have been a staple in the Star Wars franchise for almost 50 years and one of the most recognizable characters in the world. Over time, they've had several movie, TV show, and toy adaptations, so it was only right that we'd see plenty of cameos in Star Wars video games. This video will be covering the development of Stormtroopers in video games over the past 40 years, and also the various roles that players demanded and how they've changed significantly. This can include appearance, sound, AI, playability, cheats, glitches, and funny moments. I guarantee there is something new for everyone here. Not all games will be covered in serious depth, but I'm sure the most avid Star Wars gamers are going to see something new in this video. If there's something I've missed, please make sure to leave it in the comments below. Let's jump right in. I wanted to kick things off by featuring Star Wars for both the Famicom in Japan and NES in North America. The Famicom version came out in 1987, and the NES version came out in 1991. Those days, it could be hit or miss if a sprite accurately portrayed a character, and luckily, for both of these, they nailed the sprite for the Stormtrooper. From the amount I've played it, it appears as though the NES Stormtroopers don't make sound when they fire, but the Famicom does. Ah, that beautiful sound of a Stormtrooper blaster. Don't you remember it sounding like that in the movies? Even the Game Boy version didn't make a sound, so I shouldn't be so harsh on the Famicom version. All Stormtroopers in this era were simple to kill and took one shot of the blaster or a swing of the lightsaber to defeat. Both are great entry level on this list. Let's see how they progress in the future. In the early 90s, Stormtroopers upgraded to 16 bits on the Super Nintendo with a trilogy of games by the same name as the original Star Wars trilogy. These games are notorious for being extremely difficult, and not many would have the skill level combined with the patience to see the ending of these games. Aside from their upgrades in graphics and sound, Stormtroopers didn't change much. The big difference in this game is that it ramps up in difficulty because there's so many that are thrown at you at once. The AI also had an upgrade from mindlessly walking back and forth in previous games with much more sporadic and unpredictable movements. With Lucasfilm trying to cash in on putting Star Wars characters in anything they could to make money, it's no surprise that there was a Star Wars chess game released for the PC in '93. Oddly, these are the most accurate portrayals of Stormtroopers to date. They appear as pawns on the Imperial side and are bound to the rules of chess and how they can move. Although there's not much talk about this game, I find it unique that when you take a piece as a Stormtrooper, there's a mini cinematic animation to show you destroying the opponent's piece. A nice touch, but if I have the urge to play chess, I'm probably going to just play on chess.com. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire for the Nintendo 64 was released in December of '96 and was where traditional two-dimensional sprites were replaced with 3D polygons. Snowtroopers and Stormtroopers appeared as enemies in this game and didn't pose much of a threat in the lower difficulty levels. The main character, Dash Rendar, can easily take them out with a few shots, and their blaster hardly does any damage to you. Classic gamers will remember a few memorable Stormtrooper moments in this game. First up is the hilarious death animations when you shoot a Stormtrooper off of a cliff. More notable is the ability for the player to take control of the Stormtrooper through an in-game cheat. When you enter your name as Wampa Stompa and enter the Echo base level, through a short series of camera angle inputs you can take control of the Stormtrooper. His abilities are simple as he can only walk and shoot. It's a great method of adding replay value to the game by allowing players to change it up from the normal grind. When firing shots, it feels very immersive as your shots beam in all different directions. Shadows of the Empire was revolutionary for its time and holds a special place in gamers' hearts, but over the years, it's not quite held up with its aged graphics, difficult controls, annoying platforming, and poor camera angles. Star Wars Rogue Squadron for the Nintendo 64 was released in 1998 and was a game solely based on air combat. Based on the number of enemies defeated, time taken to complete, etc., a player received a medal at the end of each level. Completionists in this game will know that within the game's first level there are Stormtroopers that must be killed in order to achieve a gold medal. This is the poorest representation of a Stormtrooper in any of the games on this list so far, and they pose no threat to the player. The bone-chilling scream when you dispose of them does top the Shadows of the Empire one though. Star Wars Rebel Assault 2 for the PS1. This game had to make this list because it's crawling with Stormtroopers and is a unique playstyle. This game is reminiscent of a duck hunt and arcade shooters as the player controls crosshairs on the screen and shoots Stormtroopers. Not much strategy to the game except to duck and shoot. Graphics are okay for its time, but it's likely they could have been more impressive considering how simple the AI is. This is a game that's well known for the great step forward in the Star Wars franchise, as it brought you loads of lightsaber combat. This game features tons of Stormtroopers that bombard the player in large numbers. In this game, they look and sound great. Although they're quite simple to kill, it's nice to see they have multiple death animations added, so it's not the same every single time. The AI was also quite unpredictable as they never stayed still. LEGO Star Wars took the gaming world by surprise when it first released, as its appealing graphics, simple gameplay, humor, and how it stayed true to the Star Wars franchise made it a must-have for gamers at all experience levels. Stormtroopers are quite plentiful in this game, and I think that graphically they look just like LEGO pieces you would put together at home. For the most part, they are quite simple while taking one hit to kill, and have a standard blaster that's pretty easy to dodge. The unique element of this game is it allows you to follow the movies by allowing you to dress up as a Stormtrooper to infiltrate their base. A nice touch. We will be covering Battlefront in greater detail later in this video, but it's worth mentioning the Star Wars Battlefront and Star Wars Battlefront 2 that came out in 04 and 05, respectively. These games dropped just before online play became so popular, and campaigns were still a thing. Although the graphics are slightly dated, troopers look and feel great, and sound good for the time period they were created. Like chess, other game creators had to take advantage of utilizing the Star Wars license to increase revenues. Angry Birds was no different, as they allowed the player to take aim using Stormtrooper pigs to destroy enemy structures. It's just basically Angry Birds with Star Wars characters. This is the first game that I played where I started to experience character customization at a level other than simple appearance changes. This game hit the scene as a graphical masterpiece, and the Stormtroopers look and sound incredible. As the player increases in rank, there's more appearances, weapons, and power-ups available. Stormtroopers were a selectable character when the player spawned on the Imperial side. Developer did get some heat early on in the game's life when they introduced helmetless Stormtroopers. Players and fans complained about the immersion, and this update was quickly reversed. As you can see here, there's just something not right about them. Stormtrooper emotes are worth mentioning as they create some humorous moments in the battlefield. There's always that one guy that emotes every time he kills you, which can be frustrating. Where DICE Star Wars Battlefront games were weak was in their programming. There were countless glitches in both of their Battlefront games. One that stands out in this game is the Boba Fett Stormtrooper glitch, where a player can use Boba Fett's jetpack while using the Stormtrooper skin. There's a single player mode in this game that include offline missions, which were underwhelming at best. There were essentially waves of Stormtrooper variants that got more difficult as the player progressed. Increases in difficulty merely only upgraded the trooper damage. Most troopers just stood in place and fired. It was disappointing to say the least. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is likely the most controversial Star Wars game, mainly due to its microtransaction system at launch. That did not stop this game from getting countless updates for close to 2.5 years. There isn't much to talk about that I haven't covered in Star Wars Battlefront 2015. For some reason, DICE really seemed to struggle with keeping helmets on their Stormtroopers, whether it was done on purpose or by mistake. As you can see here, a headless Stormtrooper glitch can occur at random, which allows the player to play without a head. Early in the game's life, it was common for shock grenades to pop off your head as well. Where Battlefront 2 Stormtroopers excel over the 2015 counterpart is with the AI. The co-op offline modes are actually playable and fun. The AI is still sloppier and more predictable than a human player, but at least they pose a challenge. As with 2015, Stormtroopers look and sound amazing in Battlefront 2, so despite the developers' challenges, they at least got this right. While Battlefront 2 was trying to recover from its abysmal launch, Fortnite released Star Wars content. Stormtroopers have a more cartoony-esque and goofy appearance to them, but they still look great. One of the popular things about Fortnite is the dances and emotes, and the Stormtrooper is up to the task. They look and feel just as good as any other character. A great addition to the game. Fallen Order did what not a lot of games can do nowadays, and that is have a successful campaign-style single-player game. Most successful games now have repetitive online multiplayer that rely on players ranking, unlocking new skins and weapons as replay value. In 2019, Jedi Fallen Order was released, and it didn't disappoint. With likely the most realistic graphic portrayal of an Imperial Stormtrooper, Fallen Order has boasted excellent fight styles, variety, and sound game mechanics. Hope you enjoyed watching the history of the Stormtrooper in video games. Although this video didn't include all games, it included so much variation that it's interesting to see how they've developed over time. Being an entry-level enemy, they rarely pose a threat to the player. If you notice anything that should have made this list, be sure to leave it in the comments below. Consider leaving a like and subscribe if you're new. See you in the next video.